Loving it. Right, we are live now. There we go. Oh, there we go. Hello! Oh, we're live. There we go. 1 second.
Hey.
Right. There'll be no intro. There's no intro. I have to read it because it's too much for me. Hello and welcome to Unity 151. My name is Joe. On this channel, I do weekly, or try to actually, I didn't do one this week, reviews of sci-fi, military sci-fi, and space opera. I do a weekly live writing journey video where a few of us talk about what we're trying to learn as inspiring writers. Sometimes we have people who come on who actually are better than us as writers, and they tell us what we're doing wrong. Sometimes, though, we actually guess right, which is amazing. I do author interviews where we talk about their old and new and upcoming books. Today is, obviously, the writing video. I've got Ramsey here and Karl with a K. Ramsey from Rajathon and Karl with a K from GeekonMySleeve. There we go. Today, we are simply talking about our own stuff, what we've done. Just talk about stories, what we've done, what we've achieved this week. That's pretty much really. Karl is going to be with us very soon. He's just always... Oh, no, he's gone. Karl possibly will be back with us very soon. We have no idea. Oh, slide him back. No, disconnect from server. Right. The guy needs to... Okay, right. Well, I'm going to talk. And then Ramsey can talk. Oh, no, go on, Ramsey. You say hello. You do your little intro. Say who you are. Just in case.
I am Ramsey from Rajathon. I am a budding writer. I've never actually wrote anything more than schoolwork, but I've got a lot of stories rolling around in my head, and hopefully soon we'll get something finished. I've got about 3,000 words on a short story that I've been working on. I wrote about 1,000 words in it today. Well, yesterday, actually, not today. It's about a couple twins who are cryogenically frozen a year at a time. And I'm not liking what I wrote today or yesterday, but I will talk about that more. I think it's good content, but I don't know how good of the dialogue's bad. And I need to work on that.
Well, it's going to be bad because it's like your first time round at really going for it, and you only get literally better as you know as you go. Now I just want to say, like, I started writing my story. I had it all like no spaces between sentences or paragraphs or anything like that. It was just indent. I write everything. I was trying to go for like big chunky paragraphs, and then I'd have a space, and then I'll have a line of dialogue, space, line of dialogue, space, just to sort of like spread it out. And I sort of like, then I thought, no, changed it so it was all congested together, whatever it's condensed together, which actually is helping me flow better through my dialogue and stuff. But like, then I go back to what I originally done, and it's like, wow, so bad. Like, it's like so bad at what I was doing first. Karl's here. Karl's going to introduce himself, and then we'll actually get back into talking because he had technical issues.
Yeah, don't mind me troubleshooting cameras early in stream. Karl from GeekonMySleeve. We all have different levels of writing experience, but I think kind of what everybody was getting at is it's the process, right? There's getting it down on the page, and then there's revising it and working on it. And I'm just kind of getting back into the creative writing process, enjoying brainstorming and world building with my brother Pete, who's also on GeekonMySleeve channel with me, my co-host. And we're definitely architects versus gardeners, where we're putting in the framing, trying to build the world, playing a lot in the lit RPG genre, which has become like one of our favorite genres recently. Sorry, rambling a bit there on the intro piece. Looking forward to talking about what we've been working on the last couple weeks since we've been on here.
Right, who wants to go first? Who wants to get it over and done with? Who wants to drag it out? Anyone? No, me? Oh no, Ramsey's going to talk. Then go on, Ramsey.
If you want to go, you can. So the problem I'm having is I introduce a character who is like a mainstay through all the stories. He's an immortal or whatever. And so this character comes in, and my main character in the story is supposed to talk to him and convince him to help him somehow. And as I'm getting to these points, I'm like, okay, we're here and, whatever we need to be. I'm like, I barely described how he, like, basically the immortal character is like, yeah, sure, let me help you, with like almost no context. And I'm like, oh crap, I've got to fix, like, the way that he does it makes sense, but like I have to actually convince a reader that my main character is convincing enough to this guy to go actually do what he set out to do. And that's the difficulty that I'm having currently. I think probably I've actually had the thought of, I need to have a whole nother thing happen and just take every bit of text and pull it 3, 4, 5 pages down the line, after like establishing context and creating better dialogue, and maybe like him meeting him again later on another day. And then it'd be like, okay, now I'll help you since I've talked to you more than once.
Well, an idea, because if you're struggling with that, if you, wherever that happens, if you put like a big bracket, like, I need to come back to this and add this, this is what I need to achieve, bracket, and then leave it, because dwelling on it at the time, because sometimes you just can't think about it because it's just not there, because you know what I mean? But if your mind's already further on in the story and you're just sort of not convinced, from that point onwards, write like it happened. Let that happen, and when you come back round to your edits, as you're rereading with a bit more fresh mind, you might think, oh yeah, I need to add something here, and like ideas might pop to you, and then you can insert them and actually spend more time working on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I've done that. I've done that quite a bit. I can't even know what the bit scene was now, but something happened. I was like, oh, it's like I added not enough information to it, but at the end of the thing, I added loads of notes. Need to add this. And I'll come back to it later when I need to feel and flesh out more. The bare bones is what you're basically doing. You know, and we haven't really got a clue what we're doing. So,
yeah.
I think it depends on the draft, right? Because I can definitely relate to Ramsey there. When I was more in the creative writing mode, I tend to get hung up on details and like try to just make it work. But then for the overall word count, it really doesn't help you. So I'm really working on embracing kind of like what Joe was saying. This is good enough. Clearly, I need to rework it. But there's so much more of the story up in my mind that I need to get out on this paper. And
yes,
you can't force creativity, right? All of a sudden, something hopefully will just click. And yeah, it'll be interesting to go back and do the revision process, because just filling in all those details. I think even I've referenced it before, but Brandon Sanderson in his series, I know we've all watched it, or maybe it might have been one of his streams, but like on his rough draft with the Knights Radiant Stormlight Archive series, he won't fill in the different magic and the different spren details on how they're interacting with the world. He'll just get that first layer down. And yeah.
Well, a lot of it is like, you know what these people do and how they do, but you don't want to spend too much time doing it because your mind's on the story of what they're doing, not everything that they're doing around them, sort of thing. So like, as long as you get the story, get the blueprints down, when you come back to do it, you know these characters and you know these characters can do this stuff. So as you're then fleshing it out more, you're like, okay, I know they can do this. I know, you know what I mean? You re-add all that additional stuff in because you already know their path. You're filling out what they're doing as they're going through the path and all that stuff. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
So what have you, Ramsey, what have you done? What's your work? What have you done this week then? What's actually your process, or what have you got done, achieved, and writing on the wall?
Sat down yesterday. I've got it, but I went from here. Let me look right here if I can. I went from like 1,800 words to 2685 this week.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a lot of I got a lot of story in. Like a lot of things happen in the short amount of time that I did that, which I think is good for a short story because you're you're having to um, make a reader entertained in a short amount of time. You don't have like a whole novel to get them into your story. You don't have a whole novel to make them go, "Hey, all right, well, why do I care about this thing?" And I think being able to get a lot of stuff in 1,000 words does that. I've got to fix dialogue.
It's a challenge though, because I'm a big fan of epic fantasy where you can spend chapters helping me empathize with this character and really care and understand where they're coming from, and then get invested in the story. Right? To do that in a short window, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Have you watched or looked at any stuff about how to write short stories? Have you done any sort of research on that, or are you just trying to write a short story, if you know what I mean?
I've watched some YouTube videos.
You have, yeah.
Kind
there's
of
certain
how I do
things-
most things that I want to learn.
Yeah, that's what I
Heck
do.
yeah. Heck yeah. I think you've been through the Brandon Sanderson lecture, right? Doesn't he usually bring in a guest for that to talk a bit about it?
It was Mary Robinette Cowell, I think, and she did like how to start your short story, how to get information on a page. I think the way she was designing it was like so short that you could get it done in like 2 pages. And I'm thinking more like 20, 25 pages, hopefully, when
Yeah.
I'm done.
It's a muscle, right? Back when I was writing more consistently, and thanks again, guys, for helping hold me accountable to get back into it because I enjoy the process. But there's a subreddit where they give you like writing prompts where it's just like,
yeah, that's a good one.
yeah, you're flexing your muscle and it's like, hey, here's something interesting. Hey, Chaz, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we need to get Chaz on here one of these weeks.
Add me on Discord. Find me on Discord somehow, and then we can set it up, and you can come and join us, and we'll work all that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
More the merrier.
Absolutely. I believe Chaz actually has a collection of short stories published, so he'd be a good guy to pick his brain on. But yeah, the writing prompts, just flexing those muscles, getting used to getting that story out on the page, and no pressure to really polish it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have trouble being short-winded, tend to go more long-winded where I want to fill in all the details, and then it's like, okay, nothing really happened, hard to get. Yeah
There's nothing wrong with that. Putting loads of details in some ways good, because it means you can chop down to the nice stuff and thin it out on your editing stage, where if you don't put enough information in, when you're then going through the edit stage, you have to keep adding, which takes longer.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with that. So what have you done today then, or this week, Cole? You tell me. It's your time. Ramsey's told us he's been productive. He's done writing.
Thank you. Yeah, still getting back into the process. Like I was saying in the intro, I do some writing for work, and then I used to do a lot more creative writing, and I want to get back into the process. And I've accepted the fact that I'm an architect, where I like to get a lot of the world building set up to go play in the space. That way I don't get hung up on the details when I'm just trying to get the story out, right? And really follow the rules of magic. As of this week, my brother Pete and I were kind of exploring doing some co-writing together. One of these days we'll get him up early enough to hop on here with us and talk about it, but we pretty much just catch some phone time to and from work again the last 2 weeks, and we've been building our wikis for a couple different ideas. As far as like actual word count goes, we haven't gotten that far, but we're building our database, if you will, playing in the lit RPG genre, where it's like, okay, how is the technology going to work? We know we want it to be full immersive, but at what level of full immersion is it? Are there like some people still playing on headsets, or is all just like pods? You're in there for 22 hours a day before it kicks you back out. And then also the game mechanics, because that's a big aspect of lit RPG, and just talking about like, as readers, what would we enjoy reading, right? We know some of the tropes that we get annoyed with, don't want our main characters to be too overpowered. Perfect. Yeah, that oh gosh, what is it called? Basically like main character immunity or whatnot, right? Like they do no wrong.
You already have a game, like a game structure where you're the game that they're going to go into, and you just have to write the story to it.
Yes, we have a couple different concepts where we've been kind of just doing that layering, and it's like, okay, like I really like this idea, but it won't work with this story we're trying to write. I don't want to get too far into it, but like one of the ones that we're really into and we're talking about, we're interested in just like the AI aspect of it. I know we've talked about, I think Ramsey, you've done, was it like Sword Art Online?
Mm-hmm. I watched all season 1 for that one.
Yeah. Peter's really big into the different kind of like lit RPG game immersion animes, and he always throws them my way. And yeah, like we're really interested in the AI concept and exploring ideas as like, how can we tell this story through their perspective, sort of a deal. But yeah, we have a couple different ones that we're playing with, and then our goal is, and you guys can hold me accountable to it, hopefully the next time we hop on is to start just playing in the space and working on our word count over the holidays coming up this week.
So, yeah, you were saying you guys are really going to break into it when you have time off.
Yeah. Ramsey, Carl, Joe's turn, right?
My turn, let's do it. So I've been really productive this week. I'm so happy. I think last week wasn't very good. I can't remember what I said because I had Rainer on, and I think I did all right. I did like a few thousand words. I did 1,400 words, 1,440 words or something like that. And that would have put me up to, I don't know. Wait. I'm up to 37227 words, so 37,227 words at the moment. And this week I think I got 3,000 words done on one day, and 300 or 400 words on another, because I had one really good day, and then I've been quite busy doing other stuff this week, and I did some world building. I had to get some world building done as well. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I'm just checking the comments. Yes. So I had to do a lot of world building because my book. I've called it at the moment. It's Unity. No, it's not. Invasion of Rain. It's called. That's what it's called. Sorry. It's called Invasion of Rain. Rain is a planet.
Is that the official title, or are you finishing with that one?
Well, I don't know, but that's what I've got it. Originally, I had it just Unity Universe, because that's what I'm calling my whole thing, Unity Universe. And I've just called it Invasion of Rain, because it's an invasion. I've got to send him a link in a second. It's an invasion story. It's an invasion of a planet and a system. Well, it's actually invasion of galaxies, but I'm just focusing on one planet. I can't know what I was talking about now. Yeah, it's an invasion of a planet. And what it was, I had to... I can't know what I was talking about now. It's terrible. I was talking about the world building I had to do, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Military. What I think I was trying to get to is I had to do some research on some military stuff. So that's it. Now, it will come back to me now because I was talking about what it was. Sorry. So it's an invasion story. It's a military, or it's a space opera, military space opera sort of book, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like, it's not like a hard military, where it's like, loads of detail about military, super military focus, like really tight on that. It's more space opera, where it's more, you're in space, you will in other books hopefully see other stuff like expand out, but this is just focused on one planet, a done story with this one planet, and it's set as an invasion of this planet that everyone has to deal with this issue and stuff. Now, because it's this, I need to make sure that my military stuff is fairly accurate, because I don't want to be like pissing off the military guys who like, because hopefully they're probably going to be the guys who read it. So if they're going to read it, be like, well, that don't make sense. So I've had to do lots and lots of research because I've never served. It's something that I've in a way I regretted, but then I don't regret it because I probably would have this life with my children, my partner. You know.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like,
you know what I mean? It's ever since I was a child, I always wanted to do it. And when I was growing up and when I was an adult and working and stuff, but just my life path just went different and what I did as a career and commitments and stuff, and just changed my life. But anyway, so I need to make sure that like stuff makes sense. So like the rankings and everyone's ranks and stuff, I've had to do a lot of world building with that. Simple things like you have a fire team, then you have it's a bit different between Army and Marines, kind of basing it a bit on the Americans because American is more popular than any other army in the world. So if you're going to do a book and you want to try and sell it, you need kind of reach to markets that are going to be a bit more acceptable, you know, or if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Marine Corps in America is famous, you know, it's quite cool. So I need to, you know, you have like fire team, how many members is in a fire team, then you have a squad, and then how it progresses up all the way up to like battalions and all bigger stuff. So I had to work out them numbers and then change the numbers a bit because my story's in the future and it's much larger scale. So bump some numbers up and just tweak it just to make sure it makes sense. And then as I'm then writing my story, I can know that these little diddy things that other people might not notice, but if a military guy or someone does know, he'll be like, it's a fire team, it's got 20 people, that don't make sense. A fire team's like 4 to 6, you know, like small things like that.
They matter.
It does matter to someone. Now there's some stuff I'll never be able to get right, like if you're going into like science and hard smart stuff, but just simple things like making sure you name something correctly or close to correctly and you justify it why it might be a little bit different. You know, people can let that slide or go with that. You know, they're more, you know, understanding if I'd say there's 7 people in a fire squad, a fire team, because of this reason, because, you know, when there should be 6. Whereas, like, if I don't explain how FDL works, they'll be like, oh, it's all right, you know, science. You know, it's made up. If it's made up, it's made up, you know?
Well, I want to use something that I saw in a video game. I don't know if you ever played Dishonored, the video game, but they have like this whale oil. And so they go and they hunt the whales, and it's like an electric whale oil, and they use it for like as an electric source. But I want to do whale vomit, like bile. And so it like have an electric whale vomit, you know, as like a power source, but kind of like a neat idea because I didn't want to kill the whales. So I figured you could make them throw up and
there you go.
Get the bile easier than killing them and
very,
get the fat.
very
you know
green friendly.
So like, you know, yeah, I don't want to kill whales, but stuff like that, you know, it's like just ridiculous, but it would work as an alternate fuel source.
That's awesome. I think it really comes down to like what type of story you're trying to sell, quote unquote. Like, is it a hard science fiction book? Then for the immersion's sake, a lot of those details really make sense. Same thing with like Joe was talking about with the military piece. It's going to be hard to really please everyone regardless of what you do.
Yes.
But there are certain details where for the sake of immersion, they matter. And that's kind of what Pete and I are working on right now, is where it's not as hard as like hard science, but for like a lit RPG book, the game mechanics matter, right? The rules matter, the systems matter, and they can change as you move along. But the last thing we want is to get hung up on it, and we want it to be consistent and immersive, because when we go through and we critique other books as readers, and our audiobook collection's embarrassingly large, and last 2 years it's been lit RPG, when those details shift or all of a sudden a character does something that breaks all those rules, it really gets to us, and it's like, you know, will we forgive them? Maybe. Depends on how immersed we are into the story. But if all of a sudden later, because of plot this happens and this is why we're changing stuff, like it pulls us out of the immersion, experience where it's like, if he could do this Kamehameha move right now, explain to me why he couldn't just bust this out like 2 chapters ago in a different experience.
Yeah. So that's consistency now. That is what you're talking about. And that's another thing that with the same with the writing, with like making sure I have all this military stuff correct, and I've got it written down, so I can always make sure, even though, like I said, I'm adding 7 instead of 6, it's always going to be 7. So it's consistent, and I've explained why it is what it is, and it's just I've kind of what it was, but it's something I think actually in The Mandalorian, he's got his jetpack, and something about like I've seen people moan it, like he's put his jetpack down or it got taken away. And he needed it that episode. It's like, oh, conveniently it got left or taken or something like that. And it's just people were picking at that loads. And it's like, just for the plot, you did something, and people notice it. And they just think yeah.
Yeah, you got to make it make sense in world.
Yeah, definitely.
Not give it away.
So my good friend, now I'm going to call him Gideus. It's not Gideus. It's Gideus, I don't know fucking his name. I'm going to show you some art that he's done. Now I'm going to show you some pods. I've put this on my Discord before, but this is something, because I spoke to him, and I'm like, I'm trying to draw these pods. I'm going to screen share quickly. Now I'm trying to draw these pods, and I was having a go at myself. And I'm like, I'm struggling or whatever. And then I sent him a picture of what I was trying to draw. Now these aren't what I drew, and I sent him this picture of like this, like sort of it's like I had 20 sides or 21 sides, like hectagons, octagon, 20 odd gone or whatever it's called for 21 sides, with like little seats all the way around it and like a table in the middle. And he's like, there's a lot of dead space there. I'm like, well, I can't draw. I'm trying. He's like, I'll do it for you. And he just drew these for me and just sent them to me. And I was like, mate, you're amazing. You've saved my life. Because then I was able to like describe my pod better. And like, this is where I started taking the piss. I was like, I'm trying to draw the alien pods now, and he's like, right. And and then he drew these, and these are the alien pods.
Those are good.
And
very cool.
And like, he just like whipped it up in like an hour or 2.
Wow.
And I think he sent me like a shape. We had a few. So he had like a few little things. This is the final one. There was a version before where I don't know if my cursor can show there. There's like these landing things here. They were a bit small and it looked a bit unstable. So then he retweaked and done it, which then only took him like, I don't know, not half an hour or something, an hour or something. Like, he's really, really good at what he does. And like, so he whipped these up for me. Oh, my screen's got fun. Let's just change it. There we go. And he just whipped them up for me real quick and done. For my story, I was like, right, okay, I can really explain how they come down and what they kind of look like. And to a degree, still not putting, I don't want to over detail stuff because I'm not trying not to do a story with too much detail in. But like, it's really helped me out with writing my scenes because like in my head, I know what it is. And even though I'm not putting down all the information, what they look like, I can just sort of talk about a few bits that they're fighting around and sort of bits and bobs like that.
Those are pretty awesome and would definitely help, like you said, with the writing. Though I also enjoy when I'm reading stuff, the more intricate things that are kind of hard for your imagination to really wrap your head around, that they're included in the story as well, especially if they're like big part of the story. Having images of it is pretty cool. Yeah. When I do buy physical books, I'm a sucker for those where they include like the maps, the, whatever wiki related information throughout it. And it's like, oh, cool. Like check out this artwork, get more into the world.
Yeah.
How many people
so
fit
this
in the pod?
Right. This is the funny thing. I was like, yeah, I need 21 people. And he's like, why 21? I was like, I need 20 to a squad because squads, I think squads are actually like up to 18, or maybe 20 up to 18 or something. So I said, that's 20 to a squad. And he's like, right. So then that's how he did the other pods. And I said, right, I need you to do an inside so I can see what it looks like. He's like, right, okay. And he's trying to work out. I said, what you need to do is cut it like a cake. Imagine you cutting a cake and just do that. He's like, oh, just do that. And here he's done it. I'm a fucking gear, awesome. I am. And he's like, "Oh, it's just quick. It wasn't like perfect." I'm like, "That's amazing. You don't understand how good your work is, and you just do it really quick."
Does he have a portfolio of this stuff online?
Yes,
Whatever.
he has. I've got
You should
his
include
links
his,
and
yeah,
information
include
in
it
my
the
description. So
Awesome.
anyone wants to see some of his work, he takes jobs on. So like if you want to find him, contact him on one of the links or whatever, and then he talk to him. He's a really good guy to talk to. He's not like some artists are like. I did work with some other artists, and he was just like couples, like a sentence. And it's like yes, no, like real blunt. It's like right, well, we're not really working out very well. I want to sort of have a conversation with you and explain my stuff, like what I've got in my head. But yeah, so like they take 21. You can see there's a little man on the right hand side, and they go in these sort of harnesses, and there's I don't know how it is. There's people up top, people at the bottom, and you've got like the machine gun ports. Yeah, so they just drop, smash down. They all pile out, and they use these like mobile bunkers as well. So something sort of like. Oh, so I'm just trying to stop sharing, but I can't find my mouse. There we go. The idea behind these is like thousands and thousands of these will drop on a planet or like an area thing or whatever, and they crash. They've got their ports. They can flop out the machine gun ports, and they can fight. And they're like a bunker, temporary bunker, so they've got a good hard thing to escape out of. Because a lot of like stuff I've seen before, like for example, like Starship Troopers, they have them. Stuff drops down. They like they land in pods. They get blown up real easy. Now, obviously, a big gun would blow these up in the sky.
Yeah,
but they land, and the whole point is they can come out and they can really have a good solid defense because these are the people who use these are like the Marines. They're the first in. So whether they're invading or regaining territory, they need to drop down into something fairly solid once they hit the ground. Obviously, when you're in air, like you could die. But once you hit the ground, then you can go out and then really, go at it.
Now, kind of like the D-Day.
Yes.
Amphibious carriers that the U.S.
used
getting on.
Basically, this is what it is. This is the same version, but the Navy's in the sky now. Does he do cover arts? Yes, he's getting into cover arts and he's doing cover arts. He's actually doing a cover art for me. An idea we have. I was going to tell you about an idea I'm going to do of mine. He's I like having ships and stuff flying around, and he's like, "No, Joe, because we talk, we've got quite a good relationship. No, I want to do like I've got an idea. And I go, all right, tell me this idea." And he's like, "We'll have the pod, so you can see the pod coming down. So it's like an action scene going on. So he's got the pod, and you've got all the. There is a scene where you see 4 characters in a pod coming down because they're escaping the ship because everyone's dying, and you see them in there strapped in, and they're like smashing down. So you're going to see the inside of the pod, these 4 guys, or there will just be 4 guys you'll see. You can't cram everyone in a pod. So that'll be like the front cover with my name and whatever it is on the thing. And then on the back, my idea, which I'm forcing because I've got to have my idea on there, is I want to have one of my ships, which I've shown other preview pictures before, but I'll
the big battle cruiser, right?
Yeah, well, he's done 7 ships for me. I'm just going to have, I don't know what one he's going to do, but we will have one of them blowing up. So on the back, we have the blurb kind of either in the blurb and just above the blurb. So you can actually see that, I want to have a ship blowing out, which I think would be quite cool because I want to have a ship on a ship book. You know what I mean? I know he'll agree to it. He will agree to it because he's a good guy. But yes, he does do books. He's just actually done a fantasy kind of, I say it's fantasy. He says it's sort of science science fantasy, but it's like a fantasy cover he's just done up, and he's doing some sci-fi ones as well. He works out deals, so if you want to, he's not gonna. He has he does have his set gig prices if you find him on other things, but if you message him directly, he can work out a price with you what you want because he's more about the art than ripping people off. He loves doing the art, so like he would rather do a good book for like decent money than stripe you up. If that's interesting, if you're into that or want someone like that.
Yeah.
I'm replying to is it Chaz?
Chaz,
it is Chaz. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good booktube channel. He's a good guy.
Well, I'll have to have the link and I'll have a look at it. There's so many booktubers out there. it's hard to keep a track of them. Then I have so many booktubers, and I'm just like, I can't watch all these books. And then they're all Riven of War as well.
It's good, man. I'm telling you, when we get you into the Stormlight Archive, you're just going to be like, oh, okay, I get what they were talking about.
Well, I bought that fantasy one that you said, and when I do a book haul, I'll open it and then I'll read it probably.
Promise of Blood.
Yeah,
I think you'll like that one.
Too many good books.
I want to show one more piece up, because I love being able to show these off to people, because I've only shown a couple of people. So this is Fluffy Death. This one is.
Yeah, I saw that on your Discord. This
guy now. So I told him, I was like, right, I want something small. It's about 1 meter tall. It's going to have like 4 arms. Originally, it was going to be sort of like a typical looking alien with 4 arms. And I was like, actually, you know what I want? I want it to have a good big mouth so it can really rip in and bite and like do damage.
Flickering on and off. I don't know.
Yeah, hang on. It's my and let me stop sharing. Let me try again.
These are the house pets in your story, you said? You go down to the local puppy mill and pick one up?
And let's see. Is that work, or is it still flickering? It's still flickering, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's flickering.
Yeah, I'm going to have to stop.
I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird.
It wouldn't be a stream without some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of detail in this drawing, so I don't know if my computer can actually, with all of us, and push up. Whatever. This thing, it's a sentient being. It's as smart as everyone else or whatever. It's just a little guy who just looks like an alien. So like they're very aggressive. They're very like, they rip and they bite and they jump and they scurry, and there's loads of them. I just done like in my book. I done like a really good. So I was reading that. Yeah, message him. Sorry, Chaz, message him. Contact him. He's a decent guy, and he'll work with you. Whatever, I'll vouch for him. Like I will vouch for my 136 YouTubers on it, subscribers on it. Yeah, I just wrote a little scene where they come out and they jump, and they literally sort of like execute this good person, a good side person. Like they're pretty brutal little creatures. Yeah, that's that really. What do you guys want? Anything else you want to talk about? I've stolen the limelight for ages now. Go on. Talk about your characters.
Are you thinking about doing any kind of map? Like that's a big part of like what I want to do for world building. Like, I've got a universe map and then like a individual world map, and then like some of the individual city maps can get so cool looking. I didn't know if you were going to do any of that.
Now, I have... Where is it? I did get a map done a while ago. Now, this map is... I'll try and share it again. It probably will share because it's not as much information in it. Go on, so keep going what you were going to say while I'm just trying to load it up.
And, those drop pods and stuff, are you going to have those kind of in like a middle of the book, kind of just that animated drawings kind of sitting in the middle of the book? How are you going to lay that
out? Yes. So this is an idea that I've got to try and make the book be even more better, which is going to what I want to do is all chapters. A lot of people start chapters on the right. There's always a blank page on the left. I don't know if you guys notice that with a lot, not all people, but a lot of authors do that. Okay, like their pages starting on the right, and I'm kind of a bit like that as well. I do like the idea. So where I'm going to do that, I thought we're going to have a sketch, like a low detail sketch on the other side, because a sketch, I have looked into it. It's no different from printing a page of text or just having a sketch drawing on the side, as long as it's within so much detail, you know what I mean? So what I'm going to do is either if it's like a new character, so like one of the guys is called Franklin. So the first time you come across this guy called Franklin, there'll be a picture of him or sketch of him in his uniform. He's an officer standing there. So you kind of see, oh, that's what my character looks like. You know what I mean? So like for Franklin, and then some of these other aliens, when you meet an alien, if there's another chapter with a character who has the same alien in, I might have a picture of the alien there, just so you get a nice idea of maybe what the alien looks like. And then when there's the pod scene, the pod's coming down, I would like to have the pod coming down and like ships and stuff, you know, if you have like 30, 40 chapters, well, hopefully not 40, there's a lot of chapters, 30 chapters or something like that, you could, there's 30 different bits of art of like, you could stick in there, which just counts as a page of printing. And I thought for world building wise, people who might like that, especially when some of these aliens, you know, might get a bit technical, like the armor looks like and stuff, just seeing a Marine with his armor, with holding a weapon, you'd be like, oh, right, that's what they look like. And then as you're reading, that's what you envision in your head, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you reckon? Good idea, bad idea? Share with me.
Well, I mean, if you look at like stuff that, just to throw Sanderson in the mix, like you go through some of his and he's got like a map. Where am I at?
Oh, hang on.
So
Let me focus on you. Can I focus on you? Oh,
no.
Where have you gone? Oh, no, I don't want me.
That's just you.
Ah!
I think you have to pull my picture down into the thing to make it work.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, what have I done? I broke it completely. Right, you know what? I'm just going to go back to... Yeah, do that one. You should be able to show it now. You see my Christmas tree? This is my shanky room.
Here, I'll pull up Sky Eels. That's one of the first ones that I saw that was pretty cool. But you're talking about something like that, right? Get it in the camera frame.
Yeah, basically, like maybe, I mean, I don't know if it'd be as detailed, like as in like with loads of writing and stuff, but maybe it depends on pricing, because obviously for him, he's for a publisher and stuff. So where I'm doing it myself, the more pages, the more text, the less profit you make, if you know what I mean. So if your book gets bigger and bigger, your profit margin goes smaller. So then I don't want my book to be costing too much, because my first book, I want it to be reasonably priced. So I will I would lose my profit. I will happily lose my profit so I can add more stuff like that. Yeah. Stuff like that. That's kind of what I'd like. Yeah.
That's what you meant though with like chapter here.
Yes.
And then, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right,
Karl, you're looking unhappy. Go on, mate, talk.
Oh, I'm not unhappy. I'm enjoying hanging out with fellow writers. Yeah, audiobooks for the win. Just saying. Like, I enjoy the artwork.
I know.
And I think I've checked out Chaz's first book and was chatting with him a bit about his second one, I believe, coming up, that he's been working on Kindle Unlimited. Yet it's just so hard for me to physically find time to sit down and read.
Yeah.
So, Joe, when you get ready to narrate or hire somebody to narrate your story, I'll listen to it in a day. Same with Chaz. For me to physically sit down and read a book could take me 6 months, unless I'm on like vacation or something.
Just narrate your own story.
I do in my own. Oh, you mean like my actual writing story? I thought you meant like my day-to-day story in my head. I'm like, I got the theme music going on and everything.
I mean, we do enough stuff. We could probably figure out audio.
Yeah, I would love to, and I've actually talked to Peter about it. He can do some good voices, and then you could just put me in the background reading the monotone stuff.
That is something I'm starting to try and look into now as a narrator, because I'm going to, when I get to the stage of having the book, I will then get it off to be done. So I will have Audible, because Audible is the way forward, especially like if you want to make good sales.
Yes.
You know, that's what most people listen to, or a lot of people listen to anyway.
Over 500 titles on Audible since 2008.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it's amazing. And they now have this premium thing where you have access to all these titles for a monthly subscription. So you're no longer buying each and every book. Yeah, pretty cool. Same thing with Kindle Unlimited. Not trying to overly plug Amazon, but for those of us on a budget, I know a lot of the lit RPG titles are on Kindle Unlimited. So you pay like $10 a month. You can read as much as you want. Check out 10 at a time. I wish I did more of it, but Audible is amazing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of authors these days are selling more audiobooks than actual physical paper copies.
I'm sorry about the yawning, guys.
No, it's fine. It's obviously late for you guys, you know.
Hashtag sarcasm.
It's my Sunday nap time is what it is.
Yeah, Cole. Not Cole. I mean, Chaz. Yeah, just read it out loud. Record your reading out loud, and then send it to Cole. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please. I would love to listen to you read to me, Chaz.
Oh, talking about that is something I'm starting to look into, because there's a few options for someone trying to get an actual book done on audio. You can either like pay them money straight up, depending on the, you know what I mean. The higher quality guys cost a lot of money. Now I haven't looked into it. I saw MR Forbes actually talking about this, because he was talking about what it costs. It's about $10,000 for a top level guy to just do your book. That's a lot of money for a top guy. Like, you know, it's crazy money, you know.
It is, but for being an audiobook avid fan, like, it depends on what you're listening to, because there's a lot of technical stuff that I listen to that is just done by the author, and it's fine. But like some of these other stories where there's all these different characters, like those top level guys have sounders, they have male female casts, they have like all this stuff. And especially for like the lit RPG game stuff, to have some of those dings and game mechanics in the background just adds a layer to the immersion. And Pete and I will literally look up narrators as well as the authors and follow the narrators. Jeff Hayes from Sound Booth Theater is amazing. Nick Podell we listen to a lot of. Ray Porter with the Bobaverse series is pretty good. Like some of those top-notch guys. But yeah, and then there's others like that we come across first time, and they just do an amazing job all on their own too, right? Like it makes sense to shop around and get that voice. So when Chaz gets me his audiobook narrated, we can get you a sounder to see if you want him to narrate yours as well. Yeah.
Well, because like I can either do that, or you could, Cole, if you need to cuss all your thing, if you need to go,
I do need to here in a bit.
Yeah.
Thanks for including me, guys.
No, that's fine. So like, you can either pay them in royalties or whatever, so like they get a percentage of the profit as well. But then if you go down for like a newer guy who, because they can still be equally good, you can pay them a lot less money. So you know, these are things that I'm sort of in new year. Once I finish this draft up, which I'll hopefully finish it by February, give or take, possibly by the end of February, hopefully. Then once I'm going through the editing stage, I can then, once I've done the first load of edits and I'm sending it off to the actual editor, I will then look at pricing and audio guys and stuff, and because that's where a lot of money, that's where it's either going to cost me up front or cost me in royalties. Like, and I don't know, you know, it's like, I think you don't know where to go. It's your first book, is probably going to suck, but there's always that 1% chance it could do all right. And if paying royalties, you know, but then sort of something that I've got to look into soon.
Sure.
So, are you happy? Anything you want to chat about?
This was good. I'm excited for next time we come on, and then Lost Fleet. Sometime maybe before the holiday, if not a little bit after. But Lost Fleet Book 3 was one of those where it was like not as good as the first two, but it had some good parts, and I think it left us at enough of a cliffhanger that I'm really excited to jump into Book 4. Which alien is that?
Off another alien. This So these few aliens that I've shown you, the flashy one and this one, these are on the enemy side, which is codenamed Dauntless, actually, because I haven't actually thought of a good name for the enemy, but I'm just calling them the Dauntless. It didn't actually have anything to do with Lost Fleet. I was just looking through decent names and ended up Dauntless. I was like, you know what? And then Lost Fleet, and then So this is like this guy's like he's really tall. He's close to like, I don't think it's 3 meters, but like up there, you know, like 2.8 sort of thing, 2.8 meters. And it's like they're very fragile, but they've got like a long single shot rifle. but like it takes a little bit of charge. So like, so, who was it? It was someone called Alex. Actually, there's an alien called Alex on the human side, or not the human side, the Unity side, and this thing like blasts him, like wipes him out. Poor Alex. I've killed quite a few people in this specific few chapters that I've done. Or this one bit, I did one fight chapter. So it was all leading up to this fight chapter. I've just done this fight chapter, and it just sort of all kicked off, and I killed like loads of people. I need to cut my cast down. Who are these main? I've got like a couple people want to. There's one character who's the main point of view, and I've got these other characters around him. And I don't need a lot of these other ones. I was all just there at the beginning, and so I had to sort of, axe them. Quite. If you like a bit of a, it's not. I'm trying. This is something. We'll go in a second. But something I want to say, like, I'm trying to like walk the line of like, make it feel realistic, so like there is blood and death and dying and guts and stuff, but I don't want it to be like gore, blood, whatever that stuff's called. You know what I mean? Like I'm not into like blood spraying everywhere and it's in their mouths, they taste it. I'm not really. So like, I want to make these aliens seem really bad, and they sort of like those little fluffy ones. So they caught a species called Bracken, and they screamed at him, sort of held his arm, jumped on top, stabbed him in his neck, and like ripped his head off. Now that's kind of like. But I'm trying to show that they're not nice. Yeah. Like that one species are a bit aggressive, where the other ones aren't as aggressive with that. So there's all different species on the enemy side who aren't. Some are more aggressive, some aren't. Some are a bit more friendlier, some aren't. But they're all on one side. You know what I mean? So I want to make it like you understand, like trying to make them seem like dauntless as a Tar. The lot of the aliens, dauntless guys are bad. Like they won't take prisoners at the moment or whatever. And that's kind of
there's a reason they're the enemy.
Yeah, well, they invaded. They just invaded. Like the Unity wasn't prepared for that.
Trying to think. In creating a good villain, like that have reasonable like expectations on why they're doing the thing that they're doing, and finding a good reason for them to be that awful person or a group of people in what you've got going on, like that. It's hard to make it not just be like bad because they're bad. You find like a way to make them bad because a legitimate reason.
Well, that's it. Like that's something I'm not going to touch in this book. Is you don't find out the aliens' names. You just know they're under the Dauntless brand, and you don't know why they're doing it, what they're doing. Like the whole, because my story's about, I think it's no more than 2 weeks or a period of time, and on the planet side, it's only about 5 to 7 days. So they don't have time to sit and chat and try and find out these things. It's like they're fighting for their lives, and it's just sort of like push, counter push, and all this stuff going on, and that. So then the whole point is like you don't know who these people are. You know the Dauntless, but you don't know these aliens. You don't communicate and have a sit down. And there's no, let's have a meeting and find out why we're doing this. Yeah. It's literally the beginning of an invasion. That's kind of my plan, anyway.
I see you. I'm going to shoot at you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just kicked off. Like, let's give it a few more days, and then we might talk. But at the moment, we're going to just, we're all fresh and wanting to go. Right, I'm going to call it. Are you happy to call it?
I'm good.
Perfect. Thank you.
That mid-afternoon nap.
Mid-afternoon nap. Thank you to the people who have watched. There will be a comment with the Discord if you've listened this far. Please join the Discords. Ramsey Discord. If you comment your Discord in it as well and everything, go for it. Yeah, I'm all for. No, save it for the comment. Once we've ended, save it for the end comments, because that's what I like to do. I'm always up for advertising everyone. I'm quite good like that. Rising tide lifts all boats, or something like that. Right. Good. Oh, I've just got my pen. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you very much.